Hey, what's up guys? Nalewanyj here, bodytransformationtruth.com with part 4 of my bodybuilding and fat loss Q&A series. We've covered a lot of useful information so far, and I hope that you've been finding the tips that I've been discussing helpful. I still have quite a few more installments to come, and you can use the links in the description box below to access all of the other Q&As that are available. So let's jump into the 5 questions and answers for today. Question number 1, is time under tension an important factor to pay attention to during each set, or is counting reps good enough? The specific amount of time that your muscles spend under stress in any given set obviously plays some role in optimizing muscle growth, but it's still not something that I would suggest that you worry about. Time under tension just basically tells us something that we already know, which is that number 1, short sets done in very low rep ranges are going to be best suited for making strength gains. Number 2, long sets done in very high rep ranges will be best suited for improving muscular endurance. And number 3, sets that land somewhere in the middle between those two are going to be best suited for increasing muscular hypertrophy. However, it's not as if anyone actually knows for sure what the ideal timeframes are for each specific training goal in the first place. And as long as you're training within a standard bodybuilding style rep range, so that's going to be anywhere from 5 reps up to 12 reps per set, and you're doing your reps with a fast and explosive concentric and a reasonably controlled negative, then you're already going to land within the typical time under tension hypertrophy range anyway. And not only that, but basing your sets on a specific time goal, that actually might be counterproductive because it will take your focus away from the things that truly do matter during each set, things like proper rep speed, overall intensity, and a focus on progression in weight and reps. Question number 2, what is the ideal length of time that a bulking or cutting phase should last? Now, there really is no such thing as an optimal time frame for any particular bulking or cutting phase, and that's because it just completely depends on each individual person and their specific situation. If the primary goal is to put on muscle, then a bulking phase can continue for as long as it needs to until that person has either gained an amount of muscle that they're satisfied with, or until their body fat percentage has reached a level that they're ultimately not comfortable with and that they want to reduce. Depending on the person, that means the bulking phase could last for 8 weeks, 8 months, or literally even 8 years. And if the primary goal is to lose body fat, then a cutting phase can continue for whatever length of time is needed for that person to reach their desired level of leanness that they're after, or until they just want to shift gears and start adding some muscle mass based on their preference of how they want to look. And again, depending on the person, that specific time frame could vary all over the map. So if you want to lay out a set bulking and cutting cycle length right from the get-go, just to give yourself a rough idea of what sort of time frames you might be dealing with, then that's totally fine. However, just keep in mind that these are only going to be rough estimates because there's really no way for you to predict exactly what your specific rate of muscle growth or fat loss will be, or how those changes are going to reflect in your actual appearance, or even how your preferences might change over time. Question number 3, what are the differences between free weights, machines, and cables when it comes to building muscle, and is one tool better than the other? Now, you'll often get the typical black and white free weights or king response from many people when it comes to this question. I'm sure that I've actually said that myself in the past. But in reality, it's really not quite that simple, and there's no need to turn it into a one or the other argument in the first place anyway. When it all comes down to it here, free weights, machines, and cables are all just individual items in your overall training toolbox, and they each have their own specific use and specific advantages depending on the situation. Yes, basic barbells and dumbbells are awesome training tools, and they probably will form the underlying foundation of your training routine. However, machines and cables definitely still have their place as well. And in fact, some exercises are actually going to be better suited to machines and cables in comparison to the free weight variations. For example, exercises that are performed in a circular motion, so things like side laterals or chest flies or tricep extensions, those movements are actually more effective when you do them using cables because that's going to allow you to put your muscles under constant tension throughout the entire range of motion, whereas free weights will always give you an inconsistent resistance curve because they rely only on the straight up and down force of gravity. In addition to that, machines can also be used to perform certain movements that are just better suited to a machine variation or where they can't even be replicated using free weights at all. So exercises like leg presses, leg curls, leg extensions, calf raises, face pulls, etc. So in the end, none of these tools are inherently better than the other, and it just depends on which specific exercise you're performing and what it is that you're trying to accomplish with that movement. Question number 4, does masturbation have any negative effect on muscle growth? Now this one might seem kind of amusing to some people, but this is actually an extremely common bodybuilding question that I get asked. I'm still asked this on pretty much a weekly basis, surprisingly enough. A lot of guys worry that an excessive fapping schedule, for lack of a better term, is going to negatively impact their muscle size and strength gains by lowering overall testosterone levels, and wonder if doing it less frequently or even abstaining altogether is a smart idea. Now the short answer is that yes, when you do have sex or masturbate, you will experience a temporary drop in testosterone levels. However, that drop is compensated for later on by an increase in testosterone, and your overall levels will basically balance themselves out in the big picture. Always keep in mind that just because a given activity raises testosterone levels or lowers testosterone levels, that does not necessarily mean that it's actually going to have any measurable impact on your overall muscle building results. And that's because those testosterone levels have to be altered by a pretty significant margin in either direction in order for it to be of any real concern. So from a pure physical perspective of masturbation's direct effects on testosterone levels and muscle growth, it's really not something that I would suggest you worry about. Now, if you do find that doing it less frequently gives you positive psychological effects, so things like improved motivation or improved focus or energy, then that may have some legit carryover to your bodybuilding plan. And anecdotally, it is something that a lot of guys do report, but that's just something that you'd have to experiment with and see if it has any noticeable effects for you. And finally, question number 5, what are the best exercises and training techniques to build a bigger bicep peak? Well, your biceps are made up of 2 individual heads. There is the short head, which is the smaller inner portion that's closest to your chest. And then there's the long head, which is the larger outer portion. And since the long head is the portion that stands the tallest between the 2 heads, building a bigger bicep peak basically just comes down to adding more mass to the long head. And exercises that optimally target the long head are going to be any basic curling motion where your hands are in a supinated palms up position. So exercises like barbell curls, dumbbell curls, cable curls, and machine curls. Now I know that that sounds extremely simple, but it's really all there is to it. As you add more overall mass to the long head of your biceps through consistent bicep training, its peak will naturally increase, and from there it really just comes down to basic genetics. Some people have shorter, taller bicep peaks, and that's because the muscle inserts further away from their elbow, while other people have flatter biceps, and that's because the muscle inserts closer to the elbow. And there's really nothing that you can do to change that. So instead, just focus on building up overall bicep size as a whole through proper workout structure and proper training form. And then whatever particular peak you end up with on your biceps is ultimately just beyond your control. So thanks for watching this video lesson. I hope you found this Q&A useful here today, and part 5 will be on the way soon. If you want to learn a ton of other no BS science-based information to help you build muscle and lose fat as quickly and efficiently as possible, along with concrete step-by-step plans that you can follow, make sure to head over to bodytransformationtruth.com and grab my complete body transformation blueprint system by clicking the icon at the top of the video or by using the link in the description box below. If you did enjoy the video, as always, please make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. And make sure to check out my official blog over at SeanNal.com for all of my latest articles, tips, and other updates. Talk to you again soon.